Michael Brown's friend, Dorian Johnson, was there when Michael was shot, and he's been sharing his version of events. But he has not mentioned the alleged robbery, a convenience store incident that happened shortly before the deadly shooting. Listen.
We wasn't causing any harm to nobody. We had no weapons on us at all. We just walking, having a conversation. A police officer squad car pulled up, and when he pulled up, these was his exact words. He said, "Get the F on the sidewalk." And we told the officer we was not but a minute away from our destination, and we would shortly be out the street. We was having a conversation.
Now, according to the police incident report, Michael Brown grabbed a box of Swisher sweet cigars and handed them to Dorian Johnson. Brown reached across the counter and grabbed numerous packs. That's a quote from the incident report. Cashier attempted to stop Michael Brown from leaving, forcefully pushed him back into the display rack. Brown and Johnson exited the store with the cigars. Now, there was a lot of controversy over cops releasing video of the convenience store incident at the same time as they released the name of the police officer. But if this alleged robbery did occur and Dorian Johnson never mentioned it, does that discredit him as a witness? Let's go to the Lion's Den and debate it. And I'll start with J. Wendell Gordon, attorney.
Well, absolutely not. This really is a sideshow. And first of all, it wasn't a robbery. At best, if anything, it was a theft. And there's a big difference between theft and robbery, because the fact that it was a theft, and that's how it came across on the radio, police officer didn't even have the proper authority to arrest him. At best, he could have gotten this information and sent him a citation, or had the other guy go down and file charges against him.
Well, if
we're not talking about
it's a big if, but if you're stealing cigars that are worth, I don't know, $48 or something is one of the things that I thought I read.
That has nothing to do. What they're trying to do is make him killable. What they're trying to do is make Michael Brown killable, so no one feels upset for the fact that he's dead because they killed him. And that's all they're trying to do. They're trying to discredit him and destroy him.
You're wrong.
Hold on one second.
I'm absolutely 100% right.
Let me give Wendy Murphy a chance to respond. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. First of all, even if it were a robbery, and that just means there was threatened use of force, which I saw on the video. I think it was a robbery.
No, he already had the stuff.
He is not.
He was in possession of it. So what he's trying to do is make his way.
Let me make my point.
I think you are.
Please.
Okay, hold on. Let Wendy finish.
I'm trying to support your argument. My point is that even if it had been a robbery or whatever you call it, he's not killable. He shouldn't be killed. Nobody should be shot because they stole cigars. But the fact that people made this relevant, in my opinion, makes them the bad guy. And I don't care that the friend didn't mention this, because I think it's just as irrelevant as when we talk about a rape victim's past sexual history. It does not entitle people to rape.
Adam Thompson,
this doesn't entitle
your turn. Hold on, Adam Thompson, your turn.
I disagree with these guys for one basic reason. We all want to analyze each situation separately, which they are, but be truthful about it. Look, should he have been gunned down? No. You know, you got to react according to the situation. But what happened in that store is what happened in that store. He was strong-arm robbing that owner of the store.
Let's talk about the gunshots, because that's what I really want to talk about. I want to talk about the gunshots. It appears that the police officer was shooting directly for his head.
Talk about the gunshots separately. Don't try to undermine or underplay that he just robbed the store.
Well, you should know, as a lawyer, you should know that you didn't see a robbery. You didn't see a robbery. You just buying into what everybody else is saying in the media. That's not your legal expertise.
I'm not buying into it.
Second of all, let's talk about the gunshots.
Truthful about
if you could stop yelling.
Okay, guys, I've got to jump in, because not all allowed to talk at once, but I can tell you that there are conflicting reports about what the officer knew about this entire incident when he pulled up and had the confrontation with Michael Brown and Dorian Johnson that ultimately ended in Michael Brown's death. Listen to this, and then we'll discuss it.
The initial contact between the officer and Mr. Brown was not related to the robbery. Their initial contact was simply he was coming from a sick case, saw two young men walking down the street in the road, blocking traffic, and he pulled up and asked them to get onto the sidewalk. And then as he passed them, I guess that's when he might have seen the evidence and connected it.
Now, people have criticized this police chief for basically changing the story and releasing things in dribs and drabs. Unfortunately, we're out of time. I want to thank our incredible panel. I have to say, though, that's part of the problem. In my humble opinion, had they released it all, complete transparency at the beginning, we wouldn't be where we are right now. The longer this lasts, the more people are going to get emotionally invested. This is a cautionary tale for police. Okay, next time, do it different. Let's not have a next time. That's the real message. Let's find a way to avoid these kinds of deadly confrontations. Nancy, next.